Happy Monday, everyone. And you know what today is. On Mondays, all roads lead to book club. And so you know what to do as you are logging on. Let me know what city, what state, what country you might be logging in from. And the most important thing that you need to do right now is you need to share this with at least 5 people. All right. If you're live on TikTok, if you're live on YouTube, we need you to share this with at least 5 people. So good evening, Sonia. Good evening, Carla King. Good evening, Christy. Good evening, Shammy Sham. I see you. We've got Dallas, Texas in the house. Plant City, Florida in the house. California is in the house. Indiana is in the house. So let me know on TikTok where you're logging in from. Listen, book club is so important. And the reasons why book clubs are so important is because, number one, I see Philly's in the house too. Now, y'all know I'm from Philly. I had to stop to give a shout out to Philly. And so here's the deal. You are never, ever going to earn more than you learn. You're never going to earn more than you learn. You also cannot pour from an empty cup. And so you've got to meet me on Mondays so that you let me fill your cup. And then here's the biggest one. Well, maybe one of the biggest ones, right? Is that leaders are readers. And if you desire to lead in any capacity of your life, whether it be ministry, in your homes, on your jobs, in your businesses, if you're an entrepreneur, then the reality of it is this. You need to read. Now, a lot of people don't like to read. They say they don't have the time to read. And so this is a community where we take time to actually break down these books. All right. And so we are almost finished. We're really just about ending Think and Grow Rich. And I'm going to tell you what the next book is that we're going to go to. And so if you are live, what I need you all to do, you're a guest of Jackie Jones. I see you, Angela Jackson. Welcome. If this is your first time in your first book club, let us know in the chats. Let us know in the comments that this is your very, very first time. Now, as you all are logging on, what we need to do is, because we want to get lots of people on the book club, you guys, is we need you to hashtag Goodreads. We need you to hashtag BookTube. We need you to hashtag BookTok. Your first time, this is your first time, Hot Sunshine, right? Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I know that this won't be your last. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys right here on the screen on YouTube, BookTube, Goodreads, BookTok. I need you to use those hashtags. Christy, it's your first time, and I know it won't be your last. Use those hashtags in the comments, you guys, because that will help other booktubers, good readers, and booktalkers to find us here on YouTube. And so we're reading Think and Grow Rich. You do not need the book. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, let me make this very, very clear. Don't hate the messenger. You might be mad at the message, but don't hate the messenger. I'm just the messenger. All right. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, and you share with now. Good. Come on. I will let you know that these books are designed to challenge us. So I don't want you to get upset, and I don't want you to run. Just know that it is okay that we find our flaws so that we can grow in those areas that we all have shortcomings and flaws in. All right, you guys. So we're on chapter 13, the brain. A broadcasting and receiving station for thought. The brain. This is the 12th steps. This is the 12th step toward riches. The brain. A broadcasting and receiving station for thought. And I know most of us have never even thought about the brain in that capacity, that our brain is the broadcasting and receiving station for thought. Here's the deal. We control our thoughts. So the brain is a broadcasting and receiving station for thought. The 12th step towards riches. So more than 20 years ago, the author, working in conjunction with the late Dr. Alexander Graham and Dr. Elmer R. Gates. And for those of you who are first timers, if you don't know, Think and Grow Rich was written by Napoleon Hill. So 20 years, more than 20 years ago, the author was working in conjunction with the late Dr. Alexander Graham Bell and Elmer R. Gates and observed that every human brain is both a broadcasting and receiving station for the vibration of thought. Now, you know what's so amazing? I see we've got Michigan on the line and we got more Philadelphia on the line. Here's what's so amazing. Over the last few days, I've had my business team listening to a meditation series at bedtime. And what they're finding is that we have to learn to vibrate on another frequency so that we operate on a different frequency. We think on a different frequency. We respond on a different frequency based on what frequency we are in or on. So they observed that every human brain is both a broadcasting and receiving station for the vibration of thought. I want y'all to type that in the chat. The vibration of thought. We've got Canada. Whoa, Canada is on the house tonight, is in the house. So through the medium of the ether, in a fashion similar to that employed by the radio broadcasting principle, every human brain is capable of picking up vibrations of thought, which are being released by other brains. Hold on. So not only are we vibrating on the vibrations of our thought patterns, this book says through the medium of the ether, energy passes and travels. Energy. I'm about to mess some people up right now. Shammy, you got my back. Angela Jackson Brown, you the first. This is your first. You're a first timer, and Cheryl, y'all are first timers. Chrissy, rather. I just want to make sure y'all got my back. They right here. I can see on my screen to my left, my YouTubers. Y'all got my back on TikTok. Cause listen to this. For all of you that don't understand that when you have your little negative thoughts and you voice that little negative thought to someone else, you have just passed your low vibrating self on to someone else. So the very moment that you have your little negative thought, yeah, they told us that we need to do, and they asked us to do, and your little negative thought that you didn't think was negative. And now here you are through the medium of the ether in a fashion similar to that employed by the radio broadcasting principle. Every human brain is capable of picking up vibrations of thought, which are being released by other brains. So here's the deal, Christy. Here's the deal, Shammy. You don't even have to say it. If you think it, you can pass that thought on to somebody else. I don't even know if people really understand that the name of the book is Think and Grow Rich. This doesn't say work harder and grow rich. The name of the book is called Think and Grow Rich. So imagine that every negative thought that you have, that you're passing that on to somebody else. Maybe your spouse, you ever meet a couple? Y'all ever meet a couple? I know a few. I done got away from them. But have you ever met a couple, whether they're married or not, and you say to yourself, they are perfect for each other? Because they both just always got something negative to say about. They're always talking about somebody. They always got something. They always find a problem in every situation. Y'all know what? Y'all know. Just look straight ahead, like y'all know what I'm talking about, right? They're passing. They don't even have to talk. It's being released like radio waves. In connection with the statement in the preceding paragraph, compare and consider the description of the creative imagination as outlined in the chapter on imagination. The creative imagination is the receiving set of the brain, which receives thoughts released by brains of others. It is the agency of communication between one's conscious or reasoning mind and the four sources from which one may receive thought stimuli. When stimulated or stepped up to a high rate of vibration, the mind becomes more receptive to the vibration of thought, which reaches it through the ether from outside sources. This stepping up process takes place through the positive emotions or the negative emotions. And through the emotions, the vibrations of thought may be increased. So I told my team, we need to listen to this meditation, this I am meditation. And I warned them before we started listening to it, this is not going to sound like your normal meditation. It's not a bunch of words, it's a sound. It's a sound because you got to now take your mind and get your mind on a higher vibration. Everybody say we got to step up. We got to step up, stepping up, all right? And so the vibrations of an exceedingly high rate are the only vibrations picked up and carried by the ether. So so here's the deal. You know, everybody can vibrate pretty high when everything's going great, when the money's flowing, when you good, then you know who you are, you walking around proud, your head is up high. But as soon as things get tight, instead of you going in some dark pit and vibrating low, what you do is you start seeking God. What you do is you start saying, you know what? Okay, if things are vibrating low in your life, why? What have you done to change what you were doing when you were vibrating high? So now you're vibrating low, and now you're woe is me, and now you're licking your wounds, and now you're mad and cantankerous and mean and nasty to everybody around you because now you're all of a sudden in a dark place. But the same God that was with you when things were high is the same God that's with you now in this place where you're vibrating low. Raise your vibration. Raise your vibration. Because when it was flowing, it was great. When it was flowing, you were good. So how about go back to the actions that you were taking and go back to the actions that you were doing, go back to the things that you were doing that were causing you to be in that fruitful place. So now what you doing? Check. All you got to do is say microphone. You know, we do like this. Check, one, check two, microphone, check, one, check two. No, look in the mirror and do a check. What are you doing? What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are your habits? Not just a microphone check. No, in the mirror check. Check one, check two, and raise your vibration. Raise it up. Because the same God. It's the same God. Oh, he was good then, and now all of a sudden we in this wilderness place? No, we're not. We changed. We stepped away. Get back. Get your vibration high. And you know what I found? Oftentimes, clapping is warfare. And you know, it's so crazy because I'll tell people when I'm coaching them, I'll tell them what to do. And I'll say things like, you know, right now you just need to get up and dance. And I watch the people that will get up and dance versus the people that'll sit there and do nothing. I watch the people when I say, write this down, run your finger across it. Imagine you in that place. Imagine, and I watch the people who sit there and do nothing. But you say you want to change. Oh, you know why you do nothing? Because you're like, oh, this feels silly. Oh, well, let me tell you what else feels silly. Being broke feels silly. Being lost feels silly. Being stuck feels silly. I'd rather feel silly and be in a wealthy place, be in a healthy place, than to feel silly and be broke and sad and depressed. Anywho, I'm on my soapbox now, right? So through the emotions, the vibrations of thought may be increased. So what kind of energy are you putting out into the atmosphere? Because this says through the emotions, the vibrations of thoughts may be increased. So when you walking around, now you just sour face, sourpuss everywhere. Through the emotions, the vibrations of thoughts may be increased. You know, when I tell people all the time, when they're like, I don't know what's going on with my business. I don't know what's going on. Oh, really? I do. I can tell exactly what's going on in your business by the way you speak and what you're talking about. So a very, 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 very wealthy CEO, I had made some comments about something, and then I asked some questions, and instead of them reprimanding me, what he said to me was, Nina, I would love to suggest something for you. And he said, You need to listen to this meditation. You need to listen to this I am. And I was like, yeah, all right, okay, Because in my mind, how is any of that going to fix any of what I just said? Nope. He didn't give me a here's your 3 steps to get past this place. Oh, I'm going to go talk to them, Nina. No, he suggested, here's what I suggest that you do. Now, here's the deal. One, he wanted to see if I would even listen and be coachable. Because I don't know why people that want me to coach them are wasting my time when they don't even want to do what I suggest that they do. Get off my phone. Get off my phone. Don't send me a message. I don't need to know your every move. Let me tell you something. The teacher appears when the student is ready. You don't even have to raise your hand like this because the teacher can see it. But we give you these steps, we give you these action steps, and this very wealthy multi-millionaire said, here's what I would suggest for you to do. I really suggest, he said, you need to listen to this. What's up, Keith? You need to listen to this meditation. And immediately what happened as I began to listen to the meditation, through the emotions, the vibrations of thought may be increased. And Keith, I began to start vibrating on a different frequency. Can I get a whoop whoop in the chats? Come on, TikTok. TikTok, y'all with me? YouTube got quiet. Vibrations of an exceedingly high rate are only the vibrations picked up and carried by the ether from one brain to another. So you better be careful. Let me tell you something. Even the Bible says that iron sharpens iron. So some of y'all are not sharp right now because you're sitting around with somebody that's a butter knife. Matter of fact, they not even a metal butter knife. They a plastic butter knife. And here you are, you trying to manage your own thoughts, your own emotions, and here they come with a butter knife. With their vibrations, they ain't even got to say a word. They act it out. They act it out because they want you to know that I don't feel good, I'm in a place. They want you to know. So they don't say a word, but here they are from one brain to another trying to transmute their low vibrating cells with their butter knives. They ain't even a steak knife. Because now, by the ether from one brain to another, thought is energy traveling at an exceedingly high rate of vibration. Thought, which has been modified or stepped up by any of the major emotions, vibrates at a much higher rate than ordinary thought. And it is this type of thought which passes from one brain to another through the broadcasting machinery of the human brain. The emotion of sex stands as the head of the list of human emotions as far as intensity and driving force are concerned. The brain, which has been stimulated by that emotion of sex, vibrates at a much more rapid rate than it does when the emotion is quiescent or absent. The result of sex transmutation is the increase of the rate vibration of thoughts to such a pitch that the creative imagination becomes highly receptive to ideas, which it picks up from the ether. On the other hand, when the brain is vibrating at the rapid rate, it not only attracts thoughts and ideas released by other brains through the medium of the ether, but it also gives one's own thoughts. That feeling, which is essential before those thoughts will be picked up and acted upon by one's subconscious mind. So now here you go, releasing your negative vibrations that now someone else don't even know. Now all of a sudden, there's someone else is sitting there trying to figure out, why do I feel like this? What is going on? I was fine. I was perfectly fine. And now all of a sudden, I feel like something's on me. Because the butter knives are spreading so much negativity through the ether. They ain't even saying nothing out loud, just through the ether. Then it gets worse if they actually say something. Kelly said she about to go run around the house. Thus, you will see that the broadcasting principle is the factor through which you mix feeling or emotion with your thoughts and pass them on to your subconscious mind. So now way back here in the subconscious mind, you don't even know what's going on. Why am I feeling gloom and doom? And why is my business now? My business was going fine. And now all of a sudden, my business has gone zoop. Oh, because somebody called you. I don't know what's going on with my business. And you listening to them fools while they passing that through. They could be in, one person could be in China and you could be in Mississippi. And here come them negative vibrations through the ether from one brain to another, where you are fine. And now all of a sudden, here comes somebody transmuting their stuff. I ain't say it, the book said it. And I be trying to tell people this, right? But they must think I'm crazy. And I am telling you right now, keep your little negativity to yourself. When you see somebody else doing well, if you can't call them and just congratulate them, get off their phone. Get out their inboxes. Because then all of a sudden, they trying to figure out what is done going on here. Along with the important factors of the subconscious mind and the faculty of creative imagination, which constitute the sending and the receiving sets of your mental broadcasting machinery, consider now the principle of autosuggestion, which is the medium by which you may put into operation your broadcasting station. Through the instructions described in the chapter on autosuggestion, you were definitely informed of the method by which desire may be transmuted into its monetary equivalent, desire. Desire. If we don't really, truly desire success, because there are some people that think they desire success, but they really do love mess and chaos. They love some drama. They love talking about people. They want to, getting on the phone and discussing ideas. How can you discuss creative and witty ideas to get better? How about you hold each other accountable? Like, I haven't seen you go live. I haven't seen your reels. Where's your post at? You know, coach said we should be doing X, Y, and Z. I shouldn't be the one, hey, who's listened to the meditation last night. No, iron sharpens iron. You should be checking each other, holding each other accountable. You know why? Let me tell you something. If I was in a team, right? Oh, this is so good. Thank you, Holy Ghost. TikTok, stay with me because they might be mad at me on YouTube. Y'all got my back on TikTok? So listen to this. Y'all need to share this with 5 people. Kobe Bryant said, why would I pass you the ball? Kobe Bryant said, why would I pass you the ball? I'm not passing you the ball because I looked at your attitude on the court. Passing you the ball because I looked at the fact that you wanted to go partying, and you wasn't in practice. See, I was in the practice before the practice. I'm not passing you the ball. You wasn't even on training last night. I'm not passing you the ball. You was on training with your camera off. I'm not passing you the ball. I haven't seen you do a reel, do a live, post your products. I'm not passing you the ball. I see that you claim you're doing a weight loss product, but I ain't seen you lose no weight. I'm not passing you the ball. And let me tell y'all something. Those of you that are on a team, I'll be damned if I'm going to let the people around me be mediocre. Y'all should be correct. Hello. What we doing here? Chop, get it together. Because Kobe and Jordan, and you know why they didn't like them? You know why so many people got so much negative stuff to say about people that are high performers? Because they okay being average. And the average people always got so much to say about the people that are performing high because they different. Because they don't tolerate no foolishness. While y'all sitting around getting on the phone, talking about kiki kaka. Ain't no way I'm going to sit and have conversations with people and my volume is low. Ain't no way I'm going to sit and have conversations with people and my money is low. Ain't no way. When I'm making choices, like I got to make a choice between doing this or that, and you think that I'm going to get on a phone and be kiki and cacaing with people? Get out my inbox. Because I don't want no negative vibrations coming through to me through the ether. Well, you know, nobody wanted my products. Really? Then what negative emotion are you subconsciously displaying before people? Our thoughts attract what we desire. We can't even get around it. We done hit a home run. So, along with the important factors of the subconscious mind and the faculty of the creative imagination, which constitute the sending and the receiving sets of the mental broadcasting machinery, consider now this principle of autosuggestion, which is the medium by which you may put into operation your broadcasting station. Through the instructions described in the chapter on autosuggestion, you were definitely informed by the method by which desire may be transmuted into its monetary equivalent. Operation of your mental broadcasting station is a comparatively simple procedure. You have but three principles to bear in mind and to apply. We have three principles. Three. I'm gonna tell y'all there's something powerful about that number three. I don't know, y'all. Paul. I mean, 3 in 3 days. I mean, and I'm just saying, and then 3 steps. We got a 3-step system. And now this is saying you have but 3 principles to bear in mind and to apply. So not only do you have these 3 principles to bear in mind, it says all you got to do is apply these 3 principles. When you wish to use your broadcasting station, the subconscious mind. So now we got to decide, okay, I want to use this subconscious mind. Creative imagination and autosuggestion, the stimuli through which you put these 3 principles into action have been described. The procedure begins with desire. Everybody in the chat, type in the word desire. So I always know, Paul, I always know what a person's real desire is based on the actions. I always know, because when we have a true desire and we set the accomplishment and we set the goal, all of the other stuff falls away. All of the excuses fall away. If you really have a huge desire to be a better person, for your business to grow, for your relationships to flourish, for your network to grow, for you to get better y'all, I couldn't even talk before. And now here I am this week speaking on a huge platform here in Atlanta. The girl who didn't go to university. I didn't go to college. Had a baby at 15 who couldn't even talk. Now, I'm still going to have notes because I don't always remember, but that doesn't make what I got to say less relevant. And I realized that I could be that I could have notes and still be powerful. But desire, Bridget, is the first principle. The depression, greatest forces are intangible. The depression brought the world to a very borderline of understanding of the forces which are intangible and unseen. Through the ages which have passed, man has depended too much upon the physical senses and has limited his knowledge to physical things which he could see, touch, weigh, and measure. I'm going to say this out loud for you right now. There's a good book that I read that says, Now faith. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Now faith. We are now entering into the most marvelous of all ages, an age which will teach us something of the intangible forces of the world about us. Perhaps we shall learn as we pass through this age, and the other self is more powerful than the physical self we see when we look into a mirror. Sometimes men speak lightly of these intangibles, the things which they cannot perceive through any of their 5 senses. And when we hear them, it should remind us that all of us are controlled by forces which are unseen and intangible. Every single one of us are controlled by forces that are unseen and intangible. Here's the deal, Keith, Lydell, Tara, guess what? What force are you being controlled by? What force? The whole of mankind has not the power to cope with nor control the intangible force wrapped up in the rolling waves of the oceans. Man has not the capacity to understand the intangible force of gravity, which keeps this little earth suspended in midair and keeps man from falling from it. You know what's so crazy, Paul? People can't even understand that the world is rotating. It's rotating like right now. And none of us have fallen from it. And we don't have a care when we get up in the morning about this world that's spinning and we haven't fallen, but somebody will say, hey, I got this opportunity for you. I got this opportunity. We can make some money. All you got to do is get 2 people. I'm just using this as an example, right? We got a couple of trainings. We have these calls where we launch your business. Just write a list. And nobody can believe for that. But you can get yourself up every single day, not knowing that you might fall out the sky while the world is turning in another axis. Like, what in the world are we thinking about right now? Majoring in the minors, minoring in the majors. Because of the ether, the thoughts. Who you around that's transmuting these thought patterns to you? Get off of an amazing training, an amazing personal development Zoom or webinar, and then you go talking to your broke-minded people all around you, and now you bewildered. Man has not the capacity to understand the intangible force of gravity, which keeps the little earth suspended in the midair and keeps man from falling from it, much less the power to control that force. Man is entirely subservient to the intangible force, which comes from with a thunderstorm, and he is just helpless in the presence of the intangible force of electricity. Nay, he does not even know what electricity is, where it comes from, or what's its purpose. So it's okay that you flip a switch. You don't have no understanding about how that switch works. You don't have any understanding about how the gas comes up through the pellets in the stove, and as soon as you turn the knob, the gas goes off. You have no understanding where does the clean water come from. Now, the clean water in the toilet is clean, but I can't drink it. I can't drink that same clean water that's coming out the faucet that we cook with. Is the same water that's coming up through the toilet. This clean water's coming into the toilet. It's taking some really nasty stuff out. And we can't even, we don't even question any of those things. So, nor is this by any means the end of man's ignorance in connection with things unseen and intangible. He does not understand the intangible force and intelligence wrapped up in the soil of the earth. The force which provides him with every morsel of food that he eats, every article of clothing he wears, every dollar he carries in his pockets. Amazingly, we could take these little seeds, we could put them in the dirt, we could put some water on them, we could put it in the sun, and as long as we water it every couple of days, or some things need to be watered every single day, then all of a sudden, here comes these cucumbers, and here comes this spinach, and here comes this kale, and here comes these tomatoes, and here comes these bell peppers, and nobody questions, how did that happen? Did you see the photosynthesis take place? Did you see where the roots started to to get rooted in that dirt? Did you see any of that happen? So we can believe in those kinds of miracles for those kinds of things, but we can't believe in the miracles that I don't have to be broke another day in my life. I don't have to be obese or overweight or unhealthy another day in my life. That I can really live a life of abundance. And you know what's wrong, Paul? We think when we say abundance that we only mean money. We mean abundance in joy, abundance in health, abundance in, abundance. Abundance in resource, abundance. And so comparatively a simple procedure, you have but 3 principles to bear in mind. We read that. All right. So where we at? Tangible force. Men are entirely intangible forces, electricity, nor by this is any means man's ignorance, wrapped up in the force which provides him with every morsel of food he eats. The dramatic story of the brain. Last but not least, man with all this boasted culture and education understands little or nothing of the intangible force, the greatest of all the intangibles of thought. If we really understood thought to think and grow rich, if we really understood the power of thought, no one would be broke. The book says, think and grow rich. It doesn't say you got to come up with this amazing idea, and you got to come up with this original idea. No, it doesn't say any of those things. It says think and grow rich. And if we only understood the power of our thoughts, we'd stop having such stupid negative ones. There's a reel that I did maybe a couple of years ago. It's just stupid, guys. It's just stupid. Because if we really understood the power of thought, if we really understood that there are some things you just don't even have to say. Why would you get on a positive in a positive atmosphere where everyone else is talking about positivity and sit up there and say stuff like, yeah, well, nobody wants my products? Because you don't understand the power of thought. Now, here you come planting that one little negative seed in the midst of all of these people that are trying to stay in a positive mind frame. Control your thoughts, and your thoughts will control your actions. If it doesn't need to be said, don't say it, because not everything needs to be said. Thought. He knows but little concerning the physical brain and its vast network of intricate machinery through which the power of thought is translated into its material equivalent. But he is now entering an age which shall yield enlightenment on the subject. Already men of science had begun to turn their attention to the study of this stupendous thing called a brain. And while they are still in the kindergarten stage of their studies, they have uncovered enough knowledge to know that the central switchboard of the human brain, the number of lines which connects the brain cells one with another, equal the figure 1, followed by 15 million ciphers. The figure is so stupendous, said Dr. C. Judson Herrick of the University of Chicago, that astronomical figures dealing with hundreds of millions of light years become insignificant by comparison. It has been determined that there are from 10 billion to 14 billion nerve cells in the human cerebral cortex. And we know that these are arranged in definite patterns. These arrangements are not haphazard. They are orderly, recently developed in electrophysiology, draw off action currents from very precisely located cells or fibers with microelectrodes, amplify them with radio tubes, and record potential differences to a millionth of a volt. It is inconceivable that such a network of intricate machinery should be in existence for the sole purpose of carrying on the physical functions incidental to growth and maintenance of the physical body. It is not likely that the same system which gives billions of brain cells the media for communication one with another. So you mean to tell me that God and I don't know what you believe in. I'm not trying to force you to believe what I believe. So in whatever God you believe in, right? Created us to have these billions, not millions. I had to look at the number again because I'm like, I don't know if I've ever seen numbers that big before, right? With all them zeros. Billions of nerve cells in the human cerebral cortex. Billions. And you mean to tell me that the same God or whatever you believe would wants us to be broke, or like wants us to not have more, or wants us to the problem is that you won't even think your way through a problem. He gives us these. It says, then we draw off actions currents from very precisely located cells or fibers with microelectrodes, amplify them with radio tubes, and record potential differences to a millionth of a volt. To a million, like they're saying, like literally what I believe this is saying. Let me give you another version of what I believe it's saying. Faith as of the size of a mustard seed. That all you have to have is like faith as of the size of a mustard seed. This is saying, we ain't even saying you got to use all the nerve cells and the brain cells, but the millionth of a volt. Think. Everybody type in the words think in the chat. Think. Type in the words think in the chat. It is inconceivable that such a network of intricate machinery, right? For the soul, be in existence for the sole purpose of carrying in physical functions incidental to growth and maintenance of the physical body. It is not likely that the same system which gives billions of brain cells the media for communication one with another provides also the means of communication with other intangible forces. So you mean to tell me we got all these brain cells and we actually would believe that we can't think our way through and navigate our way through stuff? With all these millions and billions, what'd you do, smoke them all away? All the brain cells, what you do, got high, so high back in the day that you can't think? After this book had been written, just before the manuscript went to the publisher, there appeared in the New York Times an editorial showing that at least one great university and one intelligent investor in the field of mental phenomena are carrying on an organized research through which conclusions have been reached that parallel many of the described in this and the following chapter. The editorial briefly analyzed the work carried on by Dr. Rhine and his associates at Duke University. What is telepathy. I'm sorry. So here's what's so crazy. I'm distracted because I looked at the word phenomena, right? And it just goes to show that I skimmed over it because I assumed I knew that the word was pneumonia for some reason, right? It just goes to show how we think we see what we see. I just got a revelation. We think we see what we see. But if we would really look more clearly, the answers are always there. What is telepathy? A month ago, we cited on this page some of the remarkable results achieved by Professor Rhine and his associates in Duke University. From more than 100,000 tests to determine the existence of telepathy or clairvoyance, these results were summarized in the first two articles in Harper's Magazine. In the second, which has now appeared, the author E.H. Wright attempts to summarize what has been learned or what it seems reasonable to infer regarding the exact nature of these extrasensory modes of perception. The actual existence of telepathy and clairvoyance now seems to some scientists enormously probable as a result of Rhine's experiments. Various recipients were asked to name as many cards in a special pack as they could without looking at them, without any sensory access to them. About a score of men and women who were discovered who could regularly name so many of the cards correctly that there was not one chance in many a million of their having done their feats by luck or by accident. So there are a lot of people who oops their way into success. Would you like to know why? Because they don't overthink it. But how do they do them? These powers, assuming that they exist, do not seem to be sensory. Let me check the time. Okay, 18 more minutes. Right? So you get analysis paralysis because now you got to overanalyze every little thing before you do any little thing, right? The powers, assuming that they exist, do not seem to be sensory. There is no known organ for them. The experiments work just as well as distances of several hundred miles as they did in the same room. These facts also dispose, in Mr. Wright's opinion, of the attempt to explain telepathy or clairvoyance through any physical theory of radiation. All known forms of radiant energy decline inversely as the square of the distance traversed. Telepathy, and clairvoyance do not. But they do vary physical causes as other mental powers do. Mental power. So here's the thing. We don't understand that there's a mental power that we must have. But if we fall apart every single time life gets tough, if we fall apart every single time TikTok, YouTube, every single time something happens, it's almost like we go back to the bottom again. The powder wants to put you back together again, right? So now the powder got to say to the clay, oh, okay, you don't believe that you could actually be in form of something. Let's go ahead and squash you down and do it all over again. Telepathy, but they do vary physical causes and our other mental powers do. Controversy to widespread opinion. Contrary to widespread opinion. They do not improve when the recipient is asleep or half asleep, but on the contrary, when he is most wide awake and alert. So, are you really wide awake and alert? Or are you really just like 1 foot in? Because there's a lot of other stuff going on. And you know what? I'm going to help somebody with this one. I watch too many people think that money or the amount that you have has to define who you are. And it doesn't. You know, I was doing a reel earlier today, early evening, and Paul had me doing this reel and I was using these cards. And I often talk about the hand that you're dealt. I, as a card player, have had to play hands that were awful, but I still won. You know why? My attitude didn't change when I got those cards in my hand. And a skilled card player thinks their way through how to best now navigate. And now what you've got to do, see, just because somebody else has good cards doesn't mean that you can't outplay them with skill. Because what you have to do when you don't have good cards is that you have to play with skill. not with the good. See, anybody can play with a good hand of card. If I got, come on, if I get all the aces and all the kings and all the, come on. If I get the jokers and the wild cards, of course I'm gonna play good. That's not, see, here's the deal. That's not a determining factor as to whether you're good or not. When you're good, it's when you can play with a hand that is subpar and make something happen with it. Somebody, y'all like to chat up. TikTok, y'all like to chat up for me because I don't know if I don't know. YouTube be getting quiet on me. Y'all, it's not just play the hand that you're dealt. Think and play with skill set. So all these powers and all of that, right? So here's the deal. Let me go back and see where I'm at because I done lost my place because I had such a good revelation with that. All right. Telepathy. Contrary to the widespread opinion, right? They do not improve when the recipient sleep or half awake. So Ryan discovered that so where we at, half sleep, but the contrary, when he is most wide awake and alert. Ryan discovered that a narcotic will invariably lower a recipient's score, while a stimulant will always send it higher. The most reliable performer apparently cannot make a good score unless he tries to do his best. So if you can't score well unless you try to do your best, how many of you really now want to just go on and be honest? You ain't even trying to do your best. And you know why most people are not trying to do their best? I'm going to help you. Because they've never had to. If you got by in life just kind of, being like average, if you didn't really have to study for tests to pass and you could do your job like on autopilot, you know what I'm saying? You could just do your job on autopilot. It never stretched you to have to think. It never stretched you to have to operate so you know what's so crazy? I used to ask God, Lord, why it always got to be so hard for me? Why? And one day the Lord gave me an answer. Would y'all like to know would you like me to tell you? TikTok, YouTube, would you like me to tell you what the Lord said to me? How many of y'all want me to tell you what the Lord said to me? Let me know. I know we're a couple of seconds behind, so I need to see how many of y'all want to know what the Lord said to me. When I asked the Lord, why does it have to be so hard for me all the time? He said, have you considered my servant Nina? Some of y'all gonna catch that. Have you considered my servant Nina? See, Nina, she not gonna stop serving you. Nina, she not gonna fall apart. Nina is gonna give you glory in her story. Nina is gonna keep worshiping. She might cry for a moment, but Nina is not gonna stop loving you. Nina, she gonna bend but not break. Nina is not gonna quit. Nina, she's got capacity. Go ahead. Have you considered her? One conclusion that Wright draws with some confidence is that telepathy and clairvoyance are really one and the same gift. That is the faculty that sees a card face down on a table seems to be exactly the same one that reads a thought residing only in another mind. There are several grounds for believing this. So far, for example, the two gifts have been found in every person who enjoys either of them. In everyone so far, the two have been of equal vigor, almost exactly. Screens, walls, distances have no effect at all on either. Wright advances from his conclusion to express what he puts forward as no more than mere hunch, that other extrasensory experiences, prophetic dreams, premonitions of disaster, and the like may also prove to be a part of the same faculty. The reader is not asked to accept any of these conclusions unless he finds it necessary, but the evidence that Ryan has piled up must remain impressive. In the view of Dr. Ron's announcement in connection with the conditions under which the mind responds to what he terms extrasensory modes of perception, I now feel privileged to add to his testimony by stating that my associates and I have discovered what we believe to be the ideal conditions under which the mind can be stimulated so that the sixth sense described in this chapter can be made to function in a practical way. The conditions to which I refer consist of a close working alliance between myself and two members of my staff. Through experimentation and practice, we have discovered how to stimulate our minds by applying the principle used in the connection with the invisible counselors described in the next chapter, so that we can, by a process of blending our three minds into one, find the solution to a great variety of personal problems which are submitted by my clients. The procedure is very simple. We sit down at a conference table, clearly state the nature of the problem that we have under consideration, and then begin discussing it. Each contributes whatever thoughts they may occur. The strange thing about this method of mind stimulation is that it places each participant in communication with unknown sources of knowledge, definitely outside of his own experience. If you understand the principle described in this chapter on the mastermind, you of course recognize the roundtable procedure here described as being a practical application of the mastermind. This method of mind stimulation through harmonious discussion of definite subjects between three people illustrate the simplest and most practical use of the mastermind. By adopting the following a similar plan, any student of this philosophy may come into possession of the famous Carnegie formula briefly described in the introduction. If it means nothing to you at this time, mark this page and read it again after you finish the last chapter. The depression was a blessing in disguise. It reduced the whole world to a new starting point. Opportunity. The depression was a blessing in disguise. So whatever situation you're in right now, and next week we will finish the sixth sense, which is the door to the temple of wisdom. And then we've got chapter 15. And you know what, y'all? Next week, I want y'all to start reading chapter 14 if you have the book. I really want to get done this by next week. All right, because right, the devil's workshop is actually not a part of the actual book, but chapter 14, chapter 15 is kind of lengthy. All right. But next week is the sixth sense, the door to the temple of wisdom. And then chapter 15 is going to be how to outwit the sixth ghost of fear. How to outwit the sixth ghost of fear. Take inventory of yourself as you read this closing chapter and find out how many of the ghosts are standing in your way. So, I don't know about you all, but I am so excited about who we're becoming through this book, right? Hey, can y'all light it up on TikTok for me? TikTok is only the second time that I've been live with book club. I normally just have everybody meet me on YouTube, but I'm literally, the Holy Spirit was like, you know what? No, go live on TikTok because TikTok needs to hear this. And so Monday nights at 6 p.m., we meet live for book club. And I want you all to, if you are on YouTube and you have not subscribed, then you know what to do, right? You must subscribe to @Bling TV 3765 so that you always get notifications about when we are going live. Subscribe. And I want y'all to stay tuned because we're working on a hot project that's about to drop. And then we're going to make sure that you all are subscribing to that as well. But I'm not going to give it tonight. We got to make sure that we put things because you'll be trying to go to the web to it tonight and it's not ready on tonight. So listen, if you are in the Atlanta area, if you're anywhere near Atlanta, I'm telling you right now, I will be speaking this week at the Hope for the City conference. And I don't know if we can get our my husband to type in thehopenation.com because I literally, y'all, the tickets are $150 for the main registration, but we can get you a ticket for $50. I would love for you, if you are in the Georgia area, for 3 days, 3 full days with all of the speakers. I mean, Prophet Brian Meadows, we've got Juanita Bynum, Jamal Bryant, who David Emanitier, good friend of ours, right? And so Valerie Moore, did I say Valerie Moore? So many speakers and teachers that are coming to that event. If you are anywhere near, oh, Cheryl Davis said she got her a ticket, yeah, right? Then you want to make sure you go to thehopenation.com, thehopenation.com, and use the code NM24, no spaces, NM24 for $100 off your ticket. I don't even know, y'all. You get 3 days of a conference for $50. Where do they do that at? My code is still good. So go right on ahead and get your ticket. All right. It's going to be off the chains. So right there, the Hope Nation. No, it's not spelled right. TheHopeNation.com, HOPE. TheHopeNation.com and use code NM24. TheHopeNation.com and use the code NM24. So listen, you guys, it'll be up on the screen again before this is over. It'll be on the screen again. But listen, thank you all for joining us here. We actually ended in great time. It's only 6:56. Yeah, for $100 off. Thank you, Tedra, for putting that code in. And Paige wants to say hello to everybody. Of course she can.
What's up?
What's up? Right. I want you to always remember that no matter what you're going through in life, you must remember that you can live again, laugh again, hope again, dream again, and you most certainly can bling again, right? So we want you to have a bling-tastic rest of your evening, a bling-tastic week. Pay it forward, do a good deed, be kind to one another, do something nice for someone this month. Now, it is Women's History Month. All right, you guys? And I know that we women, we go through a lot. We go through a lot. We sometimes suffer inside. And I'm not saying that the men don't either, but oftentimes women are left as the only parent in the home. They're left so that means that they're provider, they're nurturer, they're the chauffeur, they're the chef, they're all of those things, right? And so we 100% understand that women have to bear a lot. Let's love on each other this month, right? And not spew hatred and just love on each other this month. And I would really love to see all of you women come through to the conference this weekend, right? And meet us at the Westin in Buckhead. Again, the website for you to, the link for you to register is thehopenation.com, code NM24. And then 9 o'clock tonight. Oh, I forgot. I almost forgot. 9 o'clock tonight, you meet me on Instagram, right? Meet me on Instagram tonight at 9 o'clock. I'm actually being interviewed by my nephew for his Manziel Mondays, right? And he interviews a lot of different entrepreneurs, and I'm next up tonight, right? So I'm excited to be on that platform as well. So at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, don't just meet me there, but beat me there, and meet me on Instagram and shout it out. Tell a friend that they may want to come and hear a story of hope, a story of victory, right? A story of triumph. It didn't all start out that way, but I made it. And if I made it, then you can too. And always remember that God loves you, I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Good night, and God bless you all.